I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. So lovely to speak to you. So first up, congratulations on the nominations. How do you all feel? How does it feel to be nominated for a BIFA?
Theresa?
It feels good. It feels good, I think, more so because what this means for the work that we hope to continue to do in terms of, we live in a society that responds to these kind of accolades, and as much as for I speak for many of us where this doesn't feel like the goal. I think the goal for us felt like the community that we built, and hopefully some of the long-term changes we made to what people think of as possible with film and who you center stories around and who gets all the authorship and ownership to tell the story. But I think what this kind of acknowledgement does in the industry is it tells other people in the industry that this is possible. It is possible to work with people in a collaborative way. It is possible to take power from the places that it's historically been stored, and it's possible to collaborate and give dues to those who contribute to that collaboration process. And it's possible to work with young people in safe, sustainable ways where you build legacy and you give people access to arts and culture that otherwise it's kept from. Arts and culture shouldn't be this ivory tower experience. It should be for all, because as we see that it only makes the whole industry and the whole experience for everybody richer by including more and more people in it.
And you, Sarah?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to add to that. I think that encompasses so much of what this process was about. I mean, the cast and the crew all collaborated in a really unique way in filmmaking that I would love to replicate, and I think we all would going forward, because it was so creatively energizing, it was so inclusive, and it allowed for this kind of mentoring process. The people behind, we had the 75% female crew behind the screen, and they were from different communities, and the young girls were drawn from different communities, and I think everybody was able to learn from one another. Certainly I learned more than I've ever learned on any other project on this, so I hope going forward we can work in ways like that. And I think that something like this award, these nominations rather, are really, really important for independent film at this time where it needs a light shone on it. It's, the kind of storytelling that happens in independent film connects people with communities, gives people hope, shows people different ways of being, and I think it's really, really valuable. So we're all grateful to BIFA for doing the work it does for independent film.
And honestly, Rocks was like one of my favorite films of the year, but the response to it has actually been really phenomenal. So how does it feel to realize that not just obviously the process of the film has been incredible, but also that it's really resonated with a lot of people as well?
Anu?
Yeah, I think what Theresa touched on it when we were chatting earlier, that I think what's so special about Rocks is the kind of collective ownership that people take in it. So everyone from the people who have been part of the story from the very beginning and who have nurtured it and seen it grow, but then also people that we've collected on the way, everyone from journalists to community workers that we've been in conversation with, and people who have really got behind the film and used all their power and energy to share the story and to share Rocks and to also share the story behind it of what it means to center Black and brown young women and their voices, and to center joy and to center sisterhood, and also to create something that means that it gives agency to all the people who are part of that journey, rather than it just being kind of a few heads, people here and there. It's everyone is able to take part in that journey in a way that I haven't been part of an experience before. So it's it's really exciting.
And do you think there is a shift going on in the cinema landscape? There are more opportunities to tell kind of varied stories and share the female experience on screen in a very authentic way? Or do you think that there's a lot more to be done for more films like this to be able to be seen?
I mean, I think there's definitely a lot more to be done, and and I definitely can see, just from being a consumer of story, I can see there are more options and there is a shift. But I think behind the scenes that shift is coming from people who are booting down doors, and I want to and I hope they are the ones who are recognised as the change makers and the innovators, because what tends to happen is the people do all of this work, you know, and they hustle and they create space and they make opportunity and they climb over these walls that are built, you know, and they tear down these gates that are used to keep them out, and then they come through and they make something great, and it's like, oh, look at the diversity, the inclusion, and then what happens is the people who try so hard to keep them out are like, yes, look how inclusive we are, look at us being innovators, and they get all the accolades. And I really hope that, you know, people, films like Rocks can, you know, and many others before and who will come after, will diffuse the power enough and share the accolade enough and share the acknowledgement and the credit enough, that those who do the work, like Axa Hines, who worked at Platform in Islington, who opened up the doors so we can have spaces to meet young people and work with young people. I hope that everybody across the board, they will start to get their credit and get their dues, and not just the people at the end who benefits the most from being crowned as innovators when they were the ones keeping us out in the first place.
Very well put. I'm out of time, but congratulations on nominations and best of luck, and thanks for this really wonderful film, Rocks. I really loved it, so thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, thanks for your time. Bye.
Bye-bye.